Смап тут?
А?
Смап тут буде?
Напевно, що ви трішки помилилися. Я можу на Ukrinform.
А тут зараз що?
Тут Балин десь.
Ну, так а смап.
Я якось почула.
Я просто так скорочую.
А ви від Ukrinform?
Так. Я просто так прийшов, думаю, ніколи не можу.
It's November 22. Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform starts its operation today. My name is Svetlana Shaparenko. Let's talk about the situation in the border with Poland and blocking of the border by Polish protesters. Joining us online is Volodymyr Balin, Vice President of the Association of International Cargo Carriers of Ukraine. Good morning, Mr. Volodymyr. Good morning, Mr. Volodymyr. Let's start not with Polish borders, but Slovakian ones. Since yesterday, the Slovakian cargo carriers blocked the border too. Do we know anything about that? Have they blocked the border completely? Because this morning we got information from the State Blockade service that the movement is temporarily unblocked. So what's the situation over there? What's going on? Yes, really, yesterday about 13 o'clock the road was blocked near Uzhgorod checkpost in Slovakian border. As of the information later, the road was unblocked. There were no documents produced to block the border, and police got a permit from their management to clear the road. I think that the Slovakians will try to continue blocking the border. However, the situation both in Poland and in Slovakia is in violation of the agreement with the European Union regarding impossibility to block the checkposts on the border. This is why I hope that the government of Slovakia, as well as their law enforcement, realize, even regardless of the fact that their government is not quite pro-Ukrainian, their new government, but still they have to comply with the legislation of the European Union. This is why I hope that situations like that are not going to repeat, but we know that the intentions are still there. We know that Mr. Rafał Makler, who organized the strike in Polish border, came there personally, and he was preparing that event, taking part in it. You mentioned that the police found the solution, the Slovakian police found the solution for the situation in the border quite quickly. Why it cannot be the case for the Poland? Well, talking about the Polish border, for what I understand, the legislation of Poland is a little bit different from Slovakian, and today we have an understanding of the fact that the local government provided the permit. Our lawyers are currently working to acquire the copy of such permit. So in case if there is permit for a strike, everything that was happening in Kravkivets yesterday, it was looking more like a strike, because there were cars that were impeding the movement of other trucks and vehicles with the placards like, let's stop the strike, let's work. And in the same way it should be happening in the other parts of the border. Like, let's continue working. We read your captions, we read your slogans, and we continue working, and we are hearing you. So what we know for the time being, there are violations on part of the strikers when they were writing the application for the strike. They were saying they would let some specific cargo through, like humanitarian aid and some critical importance cargo. For the time being, it's documented that they do not let through such types of critical cargo. All those complaints are being accumulated, and we hope that the violation of the conditions of the strike, the permit for the strike would be revoked and the road would be cleared shortly by the Polish police. For the time being, our lawyers are preparing the letters to the parliament that there are drivers in line. They start getting sick, the weather is getting cold, there are people too, and this strike is of threat to the life and health of our drivers. You remember last week there were 2 cases. In one case a driver had an epilepsy stroke, and in another case it ended lethally, unfortunately. But unfortunately the Polish side supports the strikers morally, so I think that the government of Ukraine and the European Commission should appeal to Poland both officially and unofficially to make sure that the government of Poland cancels the permit for strike as illegal. Unfortunately, the government is in the phase of reformation, and before the new government is appointed, this issue is hardly to be solved. However, we still retain the right to appeal to the court as soon as we get legal grounds to do so, to unblock the road on the court procedure to cancel that permit for the strike. So we tried all ways possible to solve this problem. So in case we appeal to the court, how long can it take to solve this issue under the legal procedure? I'm not ready to give you any specific figures or terms. Our representatives were in Helm yesterday. They were communicating with the Polish lawyers. They were trying to find somebody who would be ready to take that case, but unfortunately we were unable to find anybody so far. We have such partners in Poland but not in Help, and we are about to consider the procedural issues there to do and decide whether to sign the agreement with them or not. I was in touch with a couple of Ukrainian lawyers, and among the Ukrainian lawyers no one can tell us what are the terms because they don't understand the Polish law. The Polish lawyers that we work with, they were working with the cargo transportation law, like in case of penalizing of the drivers. They were trying to find solutions how to cancel those penalties and stuff like that. So those lawyers are not aware of the procedures of the strikes. So we've found already the lawyers in Poland who would be ready to take that case. At 14:30 we will have a meeting in Zoom with them, during which we will talk through all those matters, and they are about to tell us what are the deadlines, what are their obligations, and in case all those conditions are satisfactory, we sign the agreement and continue working. But the situation generally is pretty complicated. So how can you characterize the situation in the Polish border in general? How many checkposts are blocked, and what is the number of trucks accumulated? So those the 3 checkposts, Roboruska, Karchowa, Krokiewicz, where the representatives of the State Border Guard Service say there are more than 3,000 cargo trucks accumulated altogether. In Shegeni, there is another operating checkpost which can accept up to 250 cargo trucks per day, but we have information that the Polish agrarians are about to block the Shegeni checkpost starting from tomorrow. Part of the trucks are trying to find the way around those checkposts to go through Slovakia, but again the checkpost was blocked again. There was a line up to 400 trucks, so it would take about 2 to 3 days of work to let all of them through. And on a daily basis, I observed that the number of trucks in the electronic line is decreasing. We understand they're not going through the border. They pass custom clearance and remain in Ukraine, or otherwise they go through other checkposts. due to this blockade, what are the losses of Ukrainian economy and how it will reflect on our economy in the future? Well, look, the situation is really critical. I'm not ready to say what are the losses of other sectors of economy. However, according to the estimates of the Federation of Employers of Ukraine, the total loss of Ukrainian economy amounts to 400 million euro for the time being. We document the losses of our cargo carriers in amount of 350 euro per day per truck. And our communication with the lawyers is segregated in two parts. First is to identify the reasons for blockade and to organize the soonest unblocking possible. And then we will take into account all the losses together with the lawyers. And in accordance with the Polish legislation, we will bring cases to the courts and to local governments with the claims, with the substantiated claims. Do the Ukrainian transporters feel any deficit of transport due to the blockade on the border? Well, I'm not ready to say there is some deficit of the transport. According to the information that we have, all the orders are being accepted, but if you want to pass, you have to go through Uzhhorod or Chop, and even some importers, they bring their products from Germany through Romania, which results in additional logistics losses. But I cannot say there is any deficit of the trucks for the time being. The number of them in Ukraine is sufficient. I don't know whether it's good or bad, and they're ready to accept any transportation orders. The question is only how long is it going to take them to stay in the border, because sometimes they stay there for 9 or 10 days. There will be definitely some loss of time since they pass the custom clearance until the moment they can cross the border. Well, we don't have any questions on the floor for the time being. Mr. Volodymyr, thank you very much for clarifying the situation in Polish and Slovakian border. I'm reminding you, joining us online was Vice President of the Association of International Cargo Carriers of Ukraine, Volodymyr Balin, and we will be back at 11 o'clock, and we will talk about the heavy shelling of Kherson region. Stay tuned.